I'm Graeme Lorimer. I'm a scientist, a father and a long-term resident of Maroondah, and I get my sense of purpose in life when I can combine the people who matter to me with those things to do with nature, because one of the best things about volunteering is that you can be with like-minded people doing something you love. I started off volunteering 40 years ago. 35 years ago, I set up the Friends of Bungalow Conservation Reserves. One of the first tasks was to campaign to have land bought for the reserves. One of the special things about volunteering at Bungalow Conservation Reserves in Kilsyth South is it's the only place known on earth where the Kilsyth South spider orchid occurs. I and a couple of other volunteers discovered it back in 1991, I think it was. So it's unique to this one site in Kilsyth South. I'm also on the Committee of Management for Uamby, a wonderful reserve in Heathmont. I was on the school council at Tinternvale Primary School, for example, and I was active in the Smog Busters campaign to deal with air pollution in Maroondah. Being a scientist, a lot of my work involves looking after nature. So it's sort of the quest of discovery and understanding, and getting out and about, working out where precious things are, flora or fauna, and how to look after them, and assisting others like council to manage its bushland reserves to look after the flora and fauna. So I'll be out there on weekends and spotlighting at night and that sort of stuff. The boundary between work and volunteering and play becomes rather blurred. And isn't that a nice thing? If you can get a job where if you weren't paid to do it, you'd be doing it anyway. My passion for nature, I guess it's innate in all of us at birth. I remember as a scout heading out to the local group of scouts campsite at Chum Creek, just being in amongst nature and thinking, I belong here. I do field work all over Australia, and discovering things that haven't been found before, a brand new species not known to science, that's exciting. I was brought up in the local area, and so I feel part of the community that goes back decades, and I've seen the community change a lot over the years. But the things that I like about the part of the community with which I engage are that there are plenty of people with similar experiences, plenty of people who love nature, who want to look after nature. And I think everybody has a role in looking after nature and supporting the sorts of things that I do. At the moment, by far the most important thing that we need to deal with to look after our local flora and fauna is to look after the whole planet. It's climate change posing the greatest threat, and that means that every one of us has got a role to play in our day-to-day lives. And the other things you can do locally for flora and fauna are to become a volunteer in one of the Friends of groups, or a land care group, or a local Indigenous nursery. They're all good attributes. And you can also plant some plants in your garden if you have a garden. I'm very honoured to get this conferral of the Freeman of the City Award. One thing that struck me about getting the Freeman of the City recognition is that, I must be getting old, because in order to have that long-standing status in Maroondah and have accumulated lots of examples of being a volunteer, you have to have lived a long time. But if you've lived a life with volunteering as a component, for example, then you tend to be treated more as an elder and be prouder of your life, and that's a really nice feeling.